Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the November 19 meeting, and I would recognize a motion to that effect.
Move approval.
Second. Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We have a suburban school district application for funding from Mustang Public School District, in the amount of $80,000. I presume, Mr. Todd, that all of their normal submissions were in accordance with the requirements?
They are.
Recognize a motion to approve this.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll vote. Approved. We have 5 financial reports today. Mr. Todd?
You have in your packet the financial reports for the trust revenue and obligation reports for August 2013, September 2013, and October 2013. You have your trust payments, and then we also have the audited financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2013.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on those financials? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve them all. So moved. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Item number 5, reimbursement agreement with Southwestern Bell Telephone Company, doing business as AT&T for line relocation at John W. Rex Elementary School. Estimated cost of $32,561.80. Mr. Todd, do you have anything to add?
No, sir, other than it's an agreement to, instead of relocating completely a line, it saved money. We were able to concrete encase it and to move some poles out of the site.
Any questions? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Move second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We now have 4 change orders or amendments. Mr. Todd, if you just briefly go over each one of them. And
I can, Mr. Chairman. The first one is an amendment for Emerson Alternative School for the architecture. When construction began and the excavation was done against the building, the footings were much more substantial than were shown on the plans and than were expected, and there was an elevator shaft that was to be located against that building for the new addition. Because of those footings, we had to move the elevator out, so there was some re-engineering of the footings and relocation of that elevator shaft. Moving on. Change order 1, class and SAS. You can see that there's a lot of small items on here. Probably the most substantial is the building permit fee of $6,223. It was higher than expected. Then there was a gas line relocation. This was somewhat of a timing issue as far as we were going to use the old gas line, but it was too high, and we had to remove that. So we incurred additional costs here to put in a new gas line. And then floor preparation, item number 7, it's something we've seen before, is that when the floors are removed, we find that the lowest floors differ in heights. So moving on to the next Emerson Alternative. Again, another gas line issue that was under the slab, and then some pier casing. Regardless of all the geotechnical that we do and try to foresee these circumstances, once construction starts, there can be things that come up, and this was some groundwater that was found in the footing, so we had to end up casing those footings so that the holes didn't collapse, and that was the extra $31,000 on that one. Then moving on to Jefferson Middle School, there's a credit for roofing that was completed by the school district, so there's a $10,700 credit on that. You can see that item 4, kiln revision, $6,962, some hardware modification on item number 5, and then another credit on item 6 for the infill on the windows. So that's all on that section.
Are there any questions on these change orders? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve all of them. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We have 3 concurrence items. If you'd like to, 2 of them relate to football stadiums, and the other one's gymnasiums. Would you like to briefly discuss those 2?
I can, Mr. Chairman. These are the school bond projects, and the first one is change order number 1 for Spiegel Stadium. Again, item number 1 is building permits, cost more than what was anticipated, so that reimburses the contractor for that. Item 5 was some ductwork that needed to be revised because the ceiling heights weren't what was expected. So that's all on Spiegel. Then we have Taft Stadium. There's several items on Taft Stadium. This is partially due to the private money that is going to come into Taft Stadium, the things that they want to do so that the soccer team will be able to have their games there. So you'll see that there's several items and a lot of money spent here, but the district feels that it's money that is well spent in order to get the money from the private sector that's going to do additional improvements beyond what we were originally going to do within the scope of this project.
May I ask?
Sure.
Okay, the private money was not addressed in the agenda item, at least I didn't see it. And so is there any contractual obligation for that money to come in? It just appears that several $100,000 of additional bond money is being spent.
As I understand, there's an agreement that's being worked out with the private entity right now for over $1 million, and that's the money that they'll put into it. I don't know.
But it has not been...
It has not been approved by the district right now.
Can we assume that the expenditure that's involved here would be subject to completing a arrangement with the with the private firm that's going to have the soccer?
Yeah, that is the intent, yes. But some of these items need to go ahead and proceed because we're afraid that we're going to get into some delay claims with the contractor out there. So that's why we went ahead and docketed this today.
Okay. Third item was...
I'm sorry, and then the third item is another project. This is selection of the architect for the group of schools. It's been before you, I believe, and now it's coming back with an alternate. The architect will provide an alternate for doing the gyms as storm shelters. And additionally, it's adding another school because Edwards Elementary has experienced a lot of flooding issues over there. And we wanted to push it up from the bottom of the program where it was originally slated. Want to move it up so that we can do some things and keep that water out of there. And there'll be some improvements that they can do along with the new gym on this.
Are there any questions about the 3 concurrence items, comments?
Mr. Chairman, when would item B go to the school board?
Item B has already been to the school board.
I thought you said it hadn't been approved yet. Just the contract hasn't.
The contract has not, but this item has already been to the school board.
And it's approved by them?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is the contract with the proposed funder between MAPS and the proposed funder?
No, ma'am, it's between the district and the private entity.
Any other questions? Is there a motion for approval of the 3 items?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded.
I'd like to vote on B individually, please.
Okay. We will vote on A and C. There's been a motion and a second on that. All approved? It's approved. Now, Anthony, what do you want to do about B?
I don't need to discuss it any further. I'm troubled by the obligation to spend the money without the obligation for the private funds to come in.
I understand your position. I guess the question I have relative to that is the fact that, the school board, the school district has approved it, and they're the ones that have made the arrangements with the professional soccer team, or the soccer team, correct?
Correct. Correct, and it is bond money, school bond money.
School bond money, so it's not our money. Is there a motion to approve it?
Move approval.
Second. Motion is second, we'll vote. Passes with 1 no vote. Mr. Clowers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Got a pretty comprehensive update today. There are Maps for Kids projects. There are 16 schools still in construction. 7 of those we anticipate will be considered for final acceptance shortly after the first of the year, and those are Parmalee, Arthur, and Capitol Hill Elementary Schools, Jefferson Middle School, and then Northeast Academy, Capitol Hill High School, and Northwest Classen High School. So we should be seeing a final acceptance on those within the next couple of months. 3 schools are nearing completion. Those are Prairie Queen Elementary, Webster and Roosevelt Middle Schools, and then 6 schools under construction: John Rex, Columbus at Jackson Elementary, Taft and Rogers Middle Schools, Classen SAS Phase 2, and Emerson Alternative. In the way of the bond projects, construction's ongoing at 16 locations. These are gyms and classrooms at West Nichols Hills, Parmalee, Hillcrest, Pierce, Adams, Bodine, Horseman, Kaiser, Mark Twain, Putnam Heights, Southern Hills, Stanwady, Buchanan, Gatewood, Johnson, and Oak Ridge, all elementary schools. And then, as you've heard, construction's ongoing at both Taft and Spiegel Stadiums. We expect to receive final plans and specifications on the gyms and classroom projects at Heronville, Fillmore, Prairie Queen, Rockwood, and Eugene Field sometime in the spring of 2014. And then preliminary plans for Nichols Hills Elementary School gym and safe room are due at the end of this month. And the next trust meeting is currently scheduled for Tuesday, January 7th.
Any questions? In your packet, there's the program consultant update from ADG. Moving on, are there comments by trustees? Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just recognize the recognized improvement in the academic achievement at U.S. Grant High School. Its continued record of excellence academically goes back decades, and I would just like to recognize its a B+ rating and its improvement.
Thank you. Any other comments from trustees? Any comments from citizens? Staff? Thank you. We're adjourned.